Ladies and gentlemen, the champion is here. Jesse Love, NASCAR Xfinity Series champion, joins the show. It's great to see you, Jesse. Man, just saying that, has it sunk in yet? I know it's only been like not even 2 weeks, but has it sunk in that yet that you are a NASCAR Xfinity Series champion?
Yeah, I think so. It definitely didn't hit me as hard as I thought it would. Like, I don't know. I think that when you're daydreaming about it, the weeks leading up to it, when you're putting in all this work, like, hardest thing I've ever done, right? Most work I've ever put into any accomplishment in my life. So you expect it to be like a better feeling than anything I've ever had, right? ARCA
Yeah.
championships or even like midget championships. I thought it would trump all of that. And I've definitely learned a lot. It's definitely interesting. Like, you don't realize how much when I was 15 that ARCA championship meant to me, how much that midget or quarter midget championship meant to me when I was 5 or 15 years old, right? So it's definitely put into perspective, like, how life is all about just that perspective. That, man, like, it does feel amazing. But I was just as happy and as grateful to win an ARCA championship as I was to win Xfinity championship.
That's interesting, man. Well, it's awesome for sure to celebrate the past couple of weeks. I know you've been busy though, because you've got some racing coming up here in the off season in a couple weeks, but also you're here to talk about the new YouTube series that you and Carson Hocevar, Raja Caruth are featured in. Rising premieres this Monday, November 17th. Can you give any insight into just how much behind the scenes the fans are going to get to see in this?
Yeah, of course I can. I was watching episode 5. They send us like the rough cuts and stuff just so we can kind of get an inside look before it goes out to the world.
Mm-hmm.
And the fans get such a behind the scenes look that there are some things I was like, oh, people are gonna hate that I said that or did that, and I'm just, but you want to be, I guess, authentic, right, and show them every part of yourself. So yeah, I think that me, Raj, and Carson all like want the fan base to see like another side to ourselves and want to like grow the fan base too, right? So I'm obviously somebody that's like very in tune with like the fans, right? There's a lot of guys that necessarily aren't, but I feel like I've tried really hard, especially like Twitter is probably the best platform to do it. But it's like engage with the fans. I mean, me and Connor went to like the fan zone at Charlotte during the Roval weekend just to like, I guess, just see people and like walk around and be a fan
Yeah.
for the day. Again, so we all put a lot of like emphasis into just, I guess, being connected with the fans. Again, like, we're only here because of them. So yeah, there's some things that I wish they weren't going to see. There's some things that I'm really happy the fans are going to see. But either way, it's our story, it's my story. So I'm happy that they get to, I guess, see a part of ourselves that, they wouldn't have if we didn't have this.
Yeah. Oh no, I'm excited to see it then. And to your point, like, yeah, you guys younger drivers, I mean, I guess I'm technically Gen Z, barely. I'm almost in that millennial, but so we're like, our generation grew up in the social media age. That's all we've ever known. We're like, you're very plugged in, like you said, but did it take any getting used to extra cameras following you around, at least on race day or even behind the scenes?
I'd say so, especially for my crew chief, Danny. Like, sometimes we have some pretty candid, honest conversations, and it's not in the episode 5, but we were having this one tough conversation at Martinsville, and he was like, "What is this camera?" Like, and it had the boom mic over it, over his head. He was like, "What the hell is this?" And like smacked away. He's like, "Get that out of here." So it's definitely taken some getting used to for me and my crew chief and my whole team. But I kind of knew what I was signing up for, so I was kind of ready for it. But I mean, they were in my hotel room the night before the championship race,
Wow.
like talking to me, asking me questions, what am I going through, things like that. So yeah, there's definitely there was some getting used to, but I think the fans are going to be able to see like so much that they probably didn't expect to see. Like, it's not just like Drive to Survive where it's like all super sexy. There's some parts that were like probably too candid for TV sometimes, and also some instances that just like were random. Like, again, going to my hotel with me before the race just to like get something
Yeah.
something new out of it. So yeah, it's definitely going to be really cool and took me some getting used to, but I think that I enjoyed it. And if they give me the opportunity to do it next year, like, I'm 100% take them up on it.
Yeah, I think it's great that this is for YouTube, and I think what's made YouTube obviously a staple of media for 20 years now is that it is very much real people. It used to be broadcast yourself. I'm filming this from my spare bedroom in my apartment. And so like being able to take fans behind the scenes, that's a very YouTube thing that you wouldn't traditionally see on linear television. So I'm excited to check that out. That sounds really, really cool. Jesse, I have you here. I got to ask you a little bit about the championship. There was something you said after Phoenix. You talked about how, you mentioned Connor Zilic. You guys are great friends. We all know that. But in some ways, he was like the carrot on the stick that you were, he was your motivation this year. Now that he's moving up to the Cup Series, maybe that's still a way that he's still motivating you in a way. But as we look ahead to 2026, like what is your off-season motivation now going into the new year?
Yeah, it's a good question. And to kind of brush over it, like the press conference interview I had, like they were asking about Connor, and it was definitely really hard for me this year because we're in the same friend group, we're around the same people, we go to the same places a lot of time.
Yeah,
And like I was just like, I don't know, a part of me, again, it's all an ego hit, right? But a part of me, I was just like so frustrated, right? That like, man, I used an ARCA, right? And then when I first
sure.
got to Xfinity, like I was the man. And now, then Connor kind of, took that away from me in a sense, through his, hard work and his goals and aspirations. And I don't know, it was just hard for me because sometimes I could do something about it, and a lot of times I couldn't do much about it, except work towards it, right, and keep chipping away at it, right. So he was definitely my motivation to not like, I guess, restake my claim or anything like that, but more so just in my own head, like, man, he has something that I want. The success he's having, and I see it every single day. It's not like if it was just an all guy, or I only see him on race weekends, right? I got to live with this guy damn near every day of my life, whether I want to or not. So, yeah, that was definitely why I said that. And I also said, like, when Connor's gone next year, he's going to still run some Xfinity. But for the most part, when he's gone, I'm going to have to, I guess, kind of find that new motivation. And I haven't really figured out 100% what that is going to be yet, because I don't know. I'm not going to force anything. But everybody has their own, I guess, piece of motivation that, like when they really don't want to do something, they do it anyway because of X, right? For Michael Jordan, it was, I think his was always like the fans pay all this money to see somebody extraordinary play. I'm going to be that guy.
Yeah.
And for me, this year it was trying to beat somebody. And that was, for the most part, I haven't really told him this, but for the most part, it was Connor, right? And next year, I don't know what my motivation's, necessarily going to be yet. I know that deep down, my biggest motivation is that, I want to make my dad proud, and I want to represent God well, but probably sometimes even more than any of that, I just want to be better than I was yesterday, right?
Yeah.
And as an athlete and as a person, just continue to chip away at it and get better every day, and try to become, as unstoppable as I can be as a driver goes. So that's kind of what I've, been, clinging on to the last few weeks. Like, I know we're only a couple weeks removed from the championship, but, I've still gotten right back to work. Starting this past week was kind of when I started to, get right back in the swing of things. Obviously, the fan sentiment on Twitter and stuff like that about the championship definitely helped me get out of bed and smack my ass again and keep going. But I've enjoyed it, and I've realized I, enjoyed the work probably a lot more than I realized I did, and I enjoy the work more than any championship is going to make me feel.
Yeah, well, it sounds like you have the internal motivation down. So now it's just finding that external motivation. This year was Connor. What will it be next year? But you kind of mentioned, I do want to touch on that, social media and the fan sentiment can be an external motivation. I'm sure it was a mixed bag for you in the nights following the championship. Like being on social media, you probably saw a ton of fans in your mention, super excited for you. I mean, you just ran an incredible race, one of the best races of your career, a huge clutch win. But then you see all the format discourse, and some of it I'm sure takes the form of, this Jesse guy sucks, he shouldn't have won, whatever. Like, what was it for you? What was it like being on social media? And I don't know how much time you spent on social media in the nights following the championship, but what was that experience like for you?
Yeah, I definitely I was on social media. I didn't shy away from it at all. I was definitely on it. I wasn't really like active and engaging with any of it, but I was. I mean,
Hmm.
I've read a lot of stuff. I enjoy it, right? And I think and I think all the fans would agree with me. Like if you're coming after like me or my team, like personally, you're probably deserve to be on What an Idiot on DVC. But I think that if you're a fan that's upset about, Connor losing or the format or, just the playoffs as a whole, like your opinions are completely valid, right? Even though I'm somebody that likes I grew up a big boxing fan, like UFC fan, right? So I always
Hmm.
enjoyed like, one on one, which is kind of how most of these playoffs sometimes, sort
Sure.
out, even if it's, one on one. But
Hmm.
it's always, kind of a clutch moment with some small group and big stakes. So I enjoy that. But man, like people don't have to agree with that. And I think as a driver goes, like, what do I want for the playoffs or for the format? Like, I want what's going to make the most fans happy, right? At the end of the day, like, I think that's a simple way to look at it, but I also think it's probably the right way to look at it. Whether I want 36 races or one race take all or a 10 race chase, like, quite honestly, I feel like if I want a 36 race format and everybody else wants the playoffs, like why would I not want what's going to make the fans happy? Because at the end of
Sure.
the day, like you don't have a job if the fans aren't happy and the fans don't want to tune in. So whatever decision NASCAR makes, I hope they make, the decision that they believe is right first. But, just as importantly, I hope they make the decision that's going to make the most fans happy and make them feel heard. Because I think that's all they want, really.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I second that. And it is a difficult decision upcoming for NASCAR, how they're going to tweak things. But man, I told you this earlier, but I think the way you have represented yourself, but also the sport in the past couple of weeks, in the face of, again, controversy that doesn't, I hate to even use the word controversy because it doesn't involve you at all. It's just the format discourse. I think the way you've handled yourself has been incredible. And it's what anyone hopes, I think, the champion, that's how they hope the champion would carry themselves. So really impressed with you, man. And I got two more questions for you. Like I said, I thought Phoenix was one of the best races I've seen you run, how you guys got better as the race went on. Day transitioned to night, car came to life. You made all the right moves. I want to ask you about Danny Stockman because during your banquet speech, you got a little emotional when talking about Danny, and you mentioned him earlier. You guys have a close relationship. How valuable has he been to your career the past couple of years?
Yeah, he's been huge, man. I think the reason I got like emotional about it is so like how I look at it, we basically, with RCR and the two team, went to Phoenix and raced 300 cars or JRM cars, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
and beat like the best, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
To do that, you have to work like really, 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 really hard. And I mean, when you walk, so again, for the last 2 years, the person that I have answered to every single day, the person that I've, went through life with, every single day. There's been probably three, maybe four people that I've done that with, but one of those people has been Danny Stockman. So when you, and I don't know if anybody's worked as hard as Danny has. So when you like have to work that hard for something and you do it with somebody that makes all these sacrifices for you and you have like those arguments, right? And you have those fights and then on top of that, all the work you guys both put into it and you do it together. When you both accomplish something, it's like a humongous deal, right? At least that's
Yeah.
how I look at it, and that's how like my heart and my brain kind of internalized it all. So yeah, and obviously he was like bawling his eyes out the second I got on stage. So I was just really proud of him and the work he's put in. I was proud of myself, but I was more more than all of that proud of like what we both accomplished as a team. So yeah, it definitely meant a lot to me. And again, if we didn't work so closely, if we didn't have like those arguments on the radio that everybody knows about, or the candid conversations, like it probably wouldn't mean as much to me when I was talking about Danny. But we have had all those moments together, so it definitely meant a lot to me to talk about him.
Yeah, I know, a relationship forged by fire, I guess,
Yeah.
is what they'd say. That's awesome, man. Well, I'll let you go here in a second. I know you're busy, partially because what off season? You're going to Australia in a couple weeks, is that right? Can you tell me a little bit about that opportunity that's coming up?
Yeah, so I'm running the Super 2 series with the supercars in Australia and Adelaide
Mm-hmm.
for Terry Wyhoon. Basically, how all that came about was we used to do this WRL race with RCR. Um, we stopped doing it, but it was, last year in Coda, and we run this like track car that was like as close as we could get to what we were driving on the Cup and Xfinity side while it's still being legal
Mm-hmm.
as we could to just get laps. It was like me, Ty Dillon, Austin, both Austins, Kyle Busch, and they had a V8 supercar there to do some testing with. I didn't get to drive it, but Terry Wyhoon was there. Andrew Dickinson, who crew chiefs Ty Dillon now
Yeah.
in the Cup Series, he's phenomenal. He comes from that side of the world as well, running V8 stuff. So there was like this connection, and I always wanted to do the V8 thing only because of SVG, really. I didn't even really know about it until Shane. Again, I like in my free time, I'll watch like sprint car racing, things like that.
Sure.
Didn't even, realize what was going on in Australia other than like midget and sprint car racing. So when me and Shane got close and became good friends, I started looking into it and I was like, man, this looks like so much fun. But more importantly, I was like, there's so much for me to learn here, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, the stuff that Shane does is like, it's like magic, right? And you're like, what the hell? So if I can go over there and trial by fire, get my butt kicked and learn some of that magic that Shane has, it'll be, huge experience for me. So I'm going into it with an open mind. I leave on the 21st. I'll go test in Melbourne for a day or two, spin the thing out, get used to it, get better with right foot braking. Like I was in the sim every day so far this week and most of last week, like just right foot braking every day, right? Getting used to the
Yeah.
heel toe and all that stuff. And something that I probably will end up doing in the Xfinity car next year if I'm really comfortable with it. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. So no expectations. Obviously, I've been watching like the Queensland race, watching like Brock Feeney fly through the air and pass people at the same time, like doing just crazy shit. And I'm looking forward to learning all that stuff, getting better with it. But I would be very dumb if I had any expectations. Like those guys are so good. It's like me going to the NFL and expecting to get 10 yards. Like it's not going
Yeah.
to happen. So we'll see. We could do great, could do bad, but I'm going to learn a lot regardless.
Yeah, wow. Sounds like an awesome experience. It sounds like a very educational experience, but goodness, y'all don't get much of a break in the stock car racing world. That sounds to me like take a week to celebrate the championship. Now, nope, going to race something brand new. I love it. Jesse Love, thank you so much for spending some time. Folks, again, Rising premieres on YouTube this coming Monday, November 17th. Jesse Love, heavily featured. Can't wait to check it out, man. Thanks for chatting with us a bit today.
Yeah, thanks, guys.